You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 4th of July 2024.
All right. Hello and welcome to Celtic Ligers.
Yeah, to the podcast.
Do the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast realm.
Do you remember that old song, Do the Podcast, from back in the day?
Yeah. Sing it for me there.
Do the podcast. And then, you put your arm out like that. I know people can't see it, but it's hard to explain,
But it's very lit.
And then, yeah, and it would be at all of the weddings.
Yeah.
That I've been to.
I was just at a wedding, and we're doing it. Yeah, they're doing the podcast.
Yeah. They're doing everyone's like sitting down there like talking with Granny or whatever, and then the music comes on. Oh, the podcast. And they're running out on the floor. I'm sorry, it's the podcast. Somebody runs out. This is my song.
Yeah. Actually, at the wedding, at the bit after dinner where they're dancing.
Yeah.
I actually got such a feeling of dread from that. Of I'm back at a teenage disco. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't go to many of those, thankfully. The ones that I did go to were not good.
No, nor mine.
I went to one in America.
Yeah. Also, everyone was getting married. I was like, who do you think the next person to get married to will be? And everyone I knew there was like, I got married last month. I'm thinking about proposing. Like,
yeah,
everyone was like,
yeah.
And they were all like, they like their jobs. And I was like, I hate my job, but I'm saying.
This is like when Harry met Sally.
Or
something like that.
Or
James hates his job.
Yeah.
He's single and overworked. But maybe, just when you least expected, something around the corner.
Yeah.
And then, what's that song?
Do the Part Man.
Yeah, Do the Podcast starts playing. And, I don't know. I don't know what it would be. You've got a comic relief roommate, I hope.
No.
Okay.
I don't have that either.
And then by the end of it, you end up opening up your own bookshop.
My own podcast.
Wait,
at least I have that. At least I have that going.
Yeah, true. There was one. Sorry, I have to tell you about the American thing first. But when I went to the American one as like a teenager, there was something called.
Were they all grinding on each other?
That's what I was going to say. What was that called?
Grinding.
What was it called? Though?
Freaking.
It wasn't grinding. It was something else. Freaking. They were like, now there's no freaking allowed.
What is freaking? I've only ever heard of it.
I wasn't sure what freaking was.
Did you get a video?
Like while I was there. No, but I did see like this. Is this bad to say? But I was in Vermont, all right? So is this skinny white guy wearing a hoodie just being like wedged between two massive black ladies. And they were just grinding their arses straight into his prick, okay? And then he was like thrusting. And then there was a bunch of chaperones there who were like, I'm fed up of prying these kids apart from each other. So they just allowed it to happen. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Because I'm against mixed race relationships.
At least you were at the time.
That was a joke. Yeah, I know. We all grow. We all can heal. We all can grow. Okay.
What sort of music?
Is that racist? I'm not sure whether it's just like very funny to see a really weaselly white guy and then a very big black lady.
I think when we were teenagers, that was the ultimate. Like Napoleon Dynamite.
Exactly.
Or, SNL.
Or Road Trip. That was in Road Trip as well.
There was a skit in SNL where, Kyle Mooney.
Yeah.
And you know the woman that it looks like she's been electrocuted.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Well, that's Leslie Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole skit was like they are in love.
Yeah.
That's the whole skit. It was just like, what if these two? These two people are so different. Like, well, what's different about them?
You know, we all know. We all
Their
know.
attitude. She's so loud and aggressive.
He can't take her anywhere.
Yeah.
The cinema.
Yeah. That was the tone. The tone was like,
Oh, God.
it was just like, what
Sure,
if
is
this
it-
quiet guy went out with the classic loud woman?
But it was Curb Your Enthusiasm as well. Larry gets with like, is it Vivica Fox? And then at one point, like, do you remember when Susie's yelling at him? They show a montage of like this wimpy Jewish white man having like this kind of black woman going into battle for him.
Okay.
So Susie is like yelling at him, and then all of a sudden, you did not just say that to my man. And she like comes down, and then Larry's looking, huh? You know?
Yeah. I don't like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, neither do I. I hate it. And I remember I was so excited to watch it, that there was like, everything that I read was like the guy from Seinfeld has made a show, and it is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
And one of the things that kept coming up about it was that apparently they needed to. So they didn't have any writers at the end of Curb Your Enthusiasm because it was all improvised, all right? But apparently the Writers Guild of America, this is the story at the time, thought that the show was so funny it couldn't possibly not have any writers on it. So they demanded a WGA credit at the end. So I was like all hyped up. I was like 13 years old, and I was over it. Like, it wasn't in Galway, you know, because I don't know if we had a HMV at that point.
You had to
right?
go to Dublin to watch.
No, I was visiting my uncle in London.
Wow.
And I was in HMV, and there was 2 DVDs, and I was like, which one will I get? Which one will I get? I couldn't decide, okay?
Season 1
and I
or
went with
season
season
2?
3 because it had the funnier cover, all right? And I put in that first disc when I got home, and I was just like watching the first episode, and I got to the end, and I was like, I'm probably just not getting it.
Yeah.
I'm probably just
There
not
must be
able
another
to
layer
understand.
to this.
Yeah. And then I watched like the whole thing, and I was like, must be. And like that feeling persisted until I was like 23, I swear to God, where I was trying to be like, there must be something about this humor that I'm not getting, because what it seems to me is just an obnoxiously rich white guy talking about how much he should have to tip his fucking
It's
gardener.
literally all about tipping.
And golfing, Zainab's pointing out.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just like how much, you know, that like 5-second conversation in Seinfeld where it's like George moves into the new apartment and there's
Yeah.
a fireplace and there's a garden.
yeah.
And then he's like, how much do you have to tip a wood guy, and how much do you have to tip a gardener?
Yeah.
That, Curb Your Enthusiasm is that conversation extended into the first 4 seasons.
It's a deeply anti-Semitic show, is what we're saying.
There are some funny bits, but not a lot. And also, one eerie thing I always find about it is that, like, you'll go into a shop or something, and then he'll like order an ice cream, and then the guy behind the counter will just be so desperate to get like one little line, one laugh, one bit or something, and it's just like it creates such a strange atmosphere. It'd be like if you watched Seinfeld and everyone was Kramer, like everybody. And like when they went into like the cafe, the waitress was also like Kramer, and the you know, Mr.
It's
Monk.
like a big group interview if it was a show. Like everybody's coming in and they're trying to make themselves shine because then they might get more screen time. It's like, hey, I don't know. He comes up with this off the top of his head. If he likes you, then maybe you could feature more in the show.
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to do their little yucks, and then like, it heightens everybody. I also think LA is a really disgusting place to set anything.
Yeah, it is.
Depending.
No, it is. It's like, it's almost like that RTE effect. It's like You can't set anything in like South County Dublin, or you shouldn't. You know what I mean? It's too early.
Yeah.
LA is the same.
Or like the other thing about LA, like so there's LA, like let's say Michael Mann filming LA in like Collateral or Heat, and you know, it's like wow, it's like a big, or like the way it looked in True Detective season 2. It's kind of like, oh, cool, you know.
Yeah, it's cool.
But in Larry David's LA, it's like being in cribs, you know, like all the houses are like, you know, they look like they've been recently sanitized after somebody shot a porno, you know? Like it's like, you know the way like if you might come into somebody's house and you see like books on their shelf or you see like little items or something. Every time you see something in Curb Your Enthusiasm, like you see it in Cribs, it's like this is the first time that somebody has seen this bottle of Gatorade or this, you know, this thing that exists in their own house. They don't have any, like that's the part that's scary to me. Where it's just like I would not want to live there. It's horrifying to think about their lives.
Yeah.
And then the plots don't help because the plots are literally like tipping. It's like, fuck me, man. Is this your life? It's like, oh, for season 3, I'm setting up a restaurant. Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck, shut up. Fuck.
Or like, they're either like tipping or like, I've made a musical. Or they're like, I can't stop masturbating to my wife's friend. And she keeps seeing me. And I think she likes it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like that doesn't happen. That's a sexual fantasy you're having.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there an episode where the guy keeps like the fat guy with the high blood pressure?
Jeff Garland.
Yeah, he keeps like disappearing and like masturbating. He's like, I have to go to the toilet. And then he's like in one of the bedrooms masturbating.
I wouldn't know. I only watched like one. I think I watched season 1 and season 3.
And those DVD box sets were not cheap.
No, they weren't.
I'd say you paid.
This is about.
How old were you?
No, I didn't own. I only owned one. I only made that mistake once. I got the rest of them from the library.
Yeah, but
when I
I'd
was
say
in
you
college.
paid for that one box set €30.
I'm pretty sure it was £15 back then.
And back then, the pound was worth a lot more.
And the cover that was so funny is Larry David looking at a glass of water.
And
is it half full or half empty? And he's like,
I bet I know what he would think.
Yeah.
I
have a feeling.
Yeah. And I just, Larry David, when he sees the glass is half full, he's like, that's half empty. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how much do I tip the waiter for bringing it to me?
How much is a glass of water? It's been so long since I've been, had to earn a living doing, something.
Doing anything.
Remedial,
Yeah.
So it's been so long since I've had to earn a living doing menial labor. How much is a glass of water now? $20, probably?
Yeah. 20, he's like the one from the other show.
Arrested Development.
The other Jewish show.
I guess that is a Jewish show, now that I think about
it.
Most of them in it are Jewish. And Mitchell Hurwitz.
It's funny how as a people, they do the funniest things or the biggest crimes. You ever notice that?
Interesting.
I don't think that's unfair to say. They do the funniest things. Like, the other one.
Arrested Development. Blazing Saddles, which you could not make today.
Partly because no one watches westerns anymore.
Also, it's not funny, and I hate Blazing Saddles as well. I'm going to be honest with you. Anytime I try to watch Blazing Saddles, I've just been like, fuck me, I hate... Because people are like, there's nothing funnier than the scene by the fire where they're all just letting it rip after eating all those beans. And I was like, fuck off, The
older I get, the more I realize the only evergreen types of comedy is a guy being dumb
Yeah.
who thinks he's smart,
Yeah.
like Leslie Nielsen,
Yeah.
or slapstick.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
it.
Yeah.
When I was young, I hated those, but like I love them now.
Yeah.
That's why Naked Gun is still funny, you know.
I got to watch. I was trying to watch it, but like Zainab didn't want to watch Naked Gun.
Interesting.
Yeah, you did. I don't know, but you don't like watching spoof movies. Have you ever watched Touch of Cloth? Have you?
No.
You'd love Touch of Cloth. I mean, you know, I know that I've just given it the kiss of death now, because as soon as I say that you'll like something, I can guarantee you'll never fucking watch it. Okay. But A Touch of Cloth is like trying to take the piss out of the popularity of those like Scandinavian crime dramas,
Like the girl
or like
with the
those
dragon
things.
mouth.
Yeah, that type of shit. And so they'll be like, it was done for Sky, and the first episode is just like jam packed with all these jokes, and they've like figured out that formula of like, you know,
Wait, who's in this?
John Hannah. Do you know him? He was in like The Mummy. He played like the goofy uncle.
I think maybe I watched this. But
Nice.
back in the day, when was it made?
2011.
I think do you remember how I don't know
12.
about you, but I used to just watch streams of things.
Yeah, I know. That was the same with me.
But
Yeah,
like it would be
yeah.
in like 360p.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely.
So you're really
Well,
just
that's what I was
watching
doing.
like,
Yeah.
you know when you look through like a kaleidoscope?
Mm-hmm.
It was like that effect.
Yeah.
I think I watched that version. So I think bits might be lost on me.
It was good. It's good. I went back and watched it recently enough, and I'll probably watch it again at some stage, because I found it very. All the performances were good in it as well.
Yeah,
What's
the
also,
Naked Gun films are
yeah.
good.
Are we? What, like, so we're talking about like funny comedy movies to stand the test of time, or it's a funny TV or funny anything?
Why? Do you have something to say?
Well, I was just thinking about. I was just going to go into a list. Basically, I was just going to go into.
Yeah.
I still like the thick of it.
Yeah.
Oh
I would say
Yeah.
that's a bad one to choose. I like it
Yeah,
too.
because it does date. Yeah.
It dates, but I'm saying it's like that's just because we're old now. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
We just like it because it was good when we were young.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Evergreen. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Simpsons. Evergreen.
No.
Really? They live on Evergreen
They certainly do.
Terrace. I think The Simpsons is.
I suppose selected bits.
Yeah. What else is good? What else is funny? I went back and watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I was like, I still find this funny, but this is not evergreen funny.
Yeah, it's. I liked Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
I've not seen that in a long, long time.
Yeah,
I remember thinking it was okay. The one that I always laugh at, actually, because Frank Oz, who directed that, he also directed Bowfinger. And that scene with the stunt drivers in Bowfinger is just like, can't get over it. It's always so good. Have you seen Bowfinger? So Bowfinger is like...
the Eddie Murphy one.
Yeah, Steve Martin plays an agent who's trying to make this one film that's going to launch his career. And so he has managed to get a distributor on the hook because he says that he's gotten one of the biggest movie stars to be in it.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Up to Nash fame.
So he has to try and film it without your man knowing. So, and then they find a guy who looks exactly like him, and it's Eddie Murphy again, except he's got like these braces and like these big glasses to make him squint. But they make him take them off, and they're like, okay. So they have no money, obviously, and so he's like, "I'm going to need you to like run across this highway."
That is a good thing.
he goes like, "So, God, they're driving awfully fast." Like, yeah, but they're stunt drivers. Oh, I was always wondering how they did that. Stunt drivers.
Yeah. They tried to make, and the show was called this, so do you remember that show, My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding?
Yes.
They tried to make an Irish version of that.
Yeah.
But all the
people from the travelling community.
Yeah, Mincarry or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what they're called?
No.
The names keep changing.
Trying to keep up.
The pronouns.
Trying to keep up.
Now even the travellers want the pronouns. But they were all like, no, obviously you're not doing this.
Yeah. Fair play.
So they just turned up and like filmed across the road.
No way.
They turned up to the church and stuff. We're like zooming
God
in.
damn.
I don't think it ever aired because like you need a bit more than just like telescopic footage of of a traveller wedding or something.
All their faces are like blurred out, and it's just like they're fucking animals basically being observed.
Yeah.
Fucking Serengeti.
Did you see the Dublin Zoo got let off all those counts of animal abuse?
I did not, no.
Yeah.
Let me look it up. Father Ted Evergreen, sorry, while I looked that up.
Yeah, Father Ted is it's gone through the point where like it became cliche and then it's come out the other side and it's still funny.
Still really good, yeah. Dublin Zoo clear. Speaking of a headline that'd be in a freaking Father Ted,
the Father Freak.
Dublin Zoo Father Freak, and he's freaking against people.
Yeah,
that'd be so funny.
He's freaking against a black nun. Is that what you wanted to say?
Oh God, is that? I'm not sure. I guess that's for other people to.
Those are other people to laugh at.
Not be amused by. I'm sorry. Dublin Zoo cleared of wrongdoing after investigation into allegations of mistreatment of animals. Zoo says 17 allegations were never raised with it by whistleblowers. Fuck off.
That's too many to be fake.
Exactly. It's been cleared of 17 allegations, and it's like by the National Parks and Welfare Service. It's like, I'm going to need to see your credentials. I'm going to need to,
Yeah. Because
my name's Mr. Zoo.
First name
Dublin.
I can't believe we're going to make this joke. Because my dad always makes it. He used a thing. He said, "You missed a call." And Mr. C. Lyons was ringing from Dublin Zoo.
Yeah. What? I know it's Mr. G. Lyons. Maybe it's him.
Yeah, but he's never ringing from the zoo.
Yeah.
He must be in trouble.
They should put me in a fucking zoo, though. Should lock me up, throw away the key, because I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But
you study me. People coming
laughing hyenas.
Yeah. The allegations were brought by whistleblowers. One allegation was partially supported. This involved a female California sea lion, Kipper, who died while giving birth in August 2004.
Well, she tried to call. She really tried to call.
You're like, hey, Mr. A sea lion has rang you? Kipper.
Yeah.
And it's like, sorry, she's been brought into the operating theatre. Oh, God.
Was there ever a thing in The Simpsons where Moe gets a phone call and he thinks it's a prank, but it's real? Do you remember Moe? Yeah,
I know one where it was a prank, but it turned out that there was somebody in there with that name. Do you remember? He goes, I'm looking for a Jas, first name Hugh.
Oh, yeah.
I need a huge ass. I was like, oh, this is huge ass here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like that.
The report acknowledged that although earlier intervention could have been beneficial, the actions taken at the time were consistent with the knowledge and facilities available.
The penguins used to live in a swimming pool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You always hear people being like there's a bit where the monkeys, they can go from one island to another island over like a rope swing thing.
Yeah.
But they can just drop onto hard concrete at any point.
Yeah.
like that must have happened at least once.
I think also the behavior. Like, I mean, I don't know what an actual monkey in the wild would be like, but sometimes when you go to the zoo and you see them trapped on this island and they're just going around the perimeter shrieking and just like trying to walk to the end of a branch and see how far they can get to the mainland, you know, I don't feel like that is, they know that they're obviously they know they're not supposed to be there, and then they're going like even it said in this article, it's like, yeah, well, it was consistent with the knowledge and facilities available. It's like, yeah, the shit facilities that we already know exist, where it's like something that no animal should have to live in. Like the polar bears, when you go and see the polar bears, it's the most depressing sight in Dublin Zoo.
Yeah. Or like you'll see a snake in like a fish tank.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember going to an aquarium in Donegal.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have a few fish tanks full of fish. And then you go through and they have a stuffed fox.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, we have this fox that someone gave us, I guess. We'll just stick that at the end. And I think it was like, foxes live near the sea sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Where they look for fish.
They'd eat a fish if you gave it to them.
Oh, shit. Somebody is being fished out of the river currently.
That seems to happen outside your thing a lot.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 times. I don't know if they're accidentally in there or intentionally. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you posted, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And anything in between. I heard Matt Lieb say that in a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, and anything in between.
Yeah. What's in between?
Just to be like, allow for everybody.
Whatever happened to
all sorts these days?
Whatever happened to ladies and germs?
Ladies and germs, yeah. It was seen as offensive to the men.
Yeah.
I wish you could let me just pivot this so you can see what I'm looking at. Sorry. Can you see now with that camera?
I can't really see anything.
You can't see those people in uniform. They got the high vis on.
No.
What the hell do you see? Alright, I'll take a picture.
If I say it's crazy, will you turn the laptop around?
Alright. Can you take a photo? Sign up. Alright, cool. I just thought it would be interesting, but whatever. We're watching live news.
Yeah.
We're right up in the middle of the news.
Yeah.
What else is happening today? First of all, speaking of decrepit animals that should be put down, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the debate? We have to talk about it, even though I feel like it's been talked to death. I can't get enough of people talking about this fucking guy.
We said it before, folks. He is so old. And he is. It's hard to overstate how old he is.
Yeah. Send that to James. Oh, fuck's sake. All right. We're on a riff there.
Well, you asked her.
I know, but I told her to just take it for later, to send it. This shit's going crazy here. Thank you, Zainab. Yeah, he is so old. That thing that's been very interesting is like, so I was like, oh, this debate, I'll have to watch some of it. And then I woke up in the morning and I'd forgotten to watch any of it. And then there was a clip, and the clip was like, we get it with the. And we got to beat Medicaid. Excuse me, your time's up. And he's like, yeah, I beat Medicaid, beat it to death. And I was like, fuck. That went bad.
The other one that was good was Joe Biden. He was talking and then he trailed off. And Trump just goes, I have no idea what he said. And I don't think he did either.
But the other thing that ended up happening then is that people were going like, Joe Biden, like, I don't think that he's entirely there. And you're like, yeah. But I mean, he's like an old man who has cognitive issues. So like, yeah. And they're just
like he was
like,
yeah.
When you get confronted with the reality that they had in their head like the whole time, and you're like, there was that sketch that Limmy did as well that I was just thinking, I didn't know how to put it up, but you know the part where he's dating like an old man? Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Look at him. He's pure loved up.
Don't start.
You guess you sell a wee bird and he's all loved up.
Don't start.
What time's she getting here?
She should be here in a minute.
Cool. I'm looking forward to meeting her. Do you know, I actually feel a wee bit nervous.
What are you nervous for?
No, I know what you mean. I'm starting to feel a wee bit nervous. You know, finally getting to meet this lassie. It's put a smile on your face. I mean, she deserves a medal. I mean, look at her, man. Loved up to the eyeballs.
Listen, I know you're just kidding, but seriously. She's...
I know. I'm happy for you, mate.
Aye, same here. Because how long's that been now? See, I've been married for about... What's this?
Right, here they are. This is Mick.
Hiya.
Hiya.
This is Kevin.
All right, son.
This is Sarah. Right. Won't go to the bar.
Here they come.
All right. What's up?
Nothing. She's just been a total bitch.
Right. All right.
All right. Where's Sarah? Finished?
Aye.
Was that because she was being a bitch?
No, she was an old man.
Yeah.
Like he realized it for the first time. Like the realize. Anyway,
I know. Because what was so weird was that, like, there were obviously some people who were like, oh, he's old, but he's still with it.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot of people were like, oh, he's really sexy.
Yeah.
Like, there's always that, like, weird thing where it's like, it's not good enough just to be like, I know he might be 80, but he's still with it.
Yeah.
It's like, he's 80, but you still fuck him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's really sexual. And I love that. So, like, seeing those people having to now be like, oh, his brain is melting out his ears.
Yeah.
Live on TV. Like, even, you know that guy, Jeff Tiedrick?
Yeah.
He's like, he's made it, he is a Patreon, and all he does is tweet about, like, how much he hates Trump. And, like, he's like, one of his things was like, all his tweets are like this. He's like, imagine you're watching a debate and like Biden comes in on a motorbike licking an ice cream and he like does a wheelie next to Trump. He goes, what's up, fuckface?
Yeah.
Like that's all his tweet. And even after the debate, he was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
But like that, remember, okay, we were, you know, had the podcast during the 2020 election over in the US.
Yes, sir.
And when he goes and he says that children need to listen to the radio more. Do you remember when he said that? Do you remember?
Children need to, excuse me, the record player.
Yeah. And then he goes, the other one that happened was when he goes, listen, fat, and gets real hostile with this guy.
Yeah.
And then at one point he was in, I believe in Ohio, which was a swing state. I don't know what was happening. Was there primary votes taking place or something like that? And some guy came up on a factory floor and confronted him and said, like, I don't like you or whatever. And then Joe Biden goes, you're full of shit, Jack. And just aggressively finger fucking him. No.
Aggressively finger.
But he then goes, later on outside of like a polling station or something like that, and I can't remember where it was again, but somebody goes, you know, what do you have to say about that outburst that happened earlier on? And he goes, I'm just sorry that Bernie would do something like that. And then they go, what? And then Simone Sanders is like, okay, all right, this is over. You know, his campaign manager is like, push.
Right, temperament with voters that you don't agree with, sir.
Vice President, on the coronavirus, campaign are both targeting you over this exchange this morning with the voter about guns. Any regrets about how you handled it?
Well, I'm surprised that Sanders is joining Trump. You know, it's just surprising.
Was it appropriate to swear at an American, though, especially a union voter? Was it appropriate?
Thank you.
And then there was like, just, you know, oh, my dad could drive a car, you know, oh, just.
Yeah, and that was 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago. And like, now these people are like, this guy's fucked in the head. I was like, this is mad. I thought that we were all operating from the same place in reality. I didn't think you actually believed that. I didn't think you actually believed that he had vitality. Okay. I don't know.
The damage control has been interesting because, like, he is like a wild animal in that he needs a wrangler at all times. Because he came off stage and he was like, they were like, how do you think that went? And he was like, oh, that went well.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to get him to be like, oh, no, you have to know it went badly. So he came out with that excuse where he was like, I didn't listen to my my handlers. I was traveling before the debate.
One of the things he said there.
Out that he, what?
No, just that he said, "Oh no, I shouldn't have focused so much on foreign policy." I'm like, agreed. You know. Like,
yeah.
I was like,
no, he said he'd been traveling.
Yeah.
A lot, and he's like, I was just really tired.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that he took the week off before the debate.
Yeah.
And there's no day where he woke up before 11.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was taking snoozes during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he couldn't have been any more well rested.
Yeah.
And then he still just completely shat the bed.
Yeah. Probably also did that. Literally.
Literally, several times a day.
Yeah. Because he's in bed so often. Do you remember when they said that Barack Obama was always playing golf? Well, fucking Trump or fucking Biden, he's always in bed. He's like Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, he was playing a different sort of hole in one.
Yeah. Scratching his asshole in one.
Shit.
Yeah. So then they go, oh, who's going to replace him? What about Gavin Newsom? And then they started listing off all these people that could potentially replace him. And then for like a week straight, everybody was proposing all of these ideas and nobody said Kamala Harris until like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I just find that so funny where it's like, there's not even, nobody thinks like Kamala Harris would be a good replacement. It didn't even enter into their mind that the second person on the ticket could potentially be the fucking... It's so funny. And like, I thought that the pitch was that she'd be running things anyway. And yet, anyway.
Yeah. Like, if they got elected and he kicks the bucket, she steps in anyway.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of having a vice president.
So they're like, she is competent and capable enough to become the president if something awful were to happen. Okay, something awful has happened. Okay, what about Gavin Newsom? What about anybody who's like, what a vote of confidence in Kamala Harris that she's not the first name.
What do you think's going to happen? I don't think he's going to give up.
Yeah, see, I've been interested in that. Like most people have, because people are like, there's no way that this can continue. But then you're like, they probably would just keep with Biden. But the thing that I didn't anticipate and is a kind of unknown commodity with this is that a lot of the people who have seen are refusing to unsee it, you know? Like, remember during all the primaries, everybody's like, that guy is old as shit. We don't want him. We want Julian Castro. We want Kamala Harris. We want even Elizabeth Warren. We want like Pete Buttigieg. We want all of these guys. And then once the vote came in, and then Barack Obama was like, once South Carolina results came in and Joe Biden was ahead, they like, hey Pete, stand down. And you're no longer mayor of South Bend, Indiana. You are transport secretary. Amy Klobuchar, stand down. Yeah. You can be vice president. Wink. But actually, she would have been as vice president, I'm pretty confident. If I believe, now I could be wrong about this. I don't know if she was congresswoman, senator, or governor. But either way, she was of Minnesota when George Floyd was killed that same summer. So they basically, it was all but hers. And then that happened in her home state. And then they were like, no, there's no way that you can be the Black Lives Matter politician, like responsible for that and be on the ticket, you know? That's my theory.
The New York Times. May 29, 2020. Protests in Minnesota renew scrutiny of Klobuchar's record as prosecutor. Amy Klobuchar, now being considered as a potential vice presidential candidate, oversaw several cases involving police shootings in Minneapolis during her years as a prosecutor.
Because she didn't win any... I don't think she won any...
No, but Kamala Harris dropped out before they did her home state because she would have lost her home state. But Amy Klobuchar was like, you know, they were doing... Like, she didn't win, but she was doing relatively well. But it was the pair... It was her and Pete Buttigieg staying in the race, which were costing Biden delegates, essentially.
Yeah. They wanted to get rid of Sanders.
Exactly. And then Elizabeth Warren stayed in. But anyway, they did that massive coordination, and it was kind of like imposing their will on the electorate. But anyway, all those people, like, so Pod Save America, for example, were like, Biden is an old piece of shit, okay? And then Biden, like, was the guy. So suddenly they're like, well, actually, he isn't, you know, there's something to him that we didn't give him credit for. He's got a steely... First of all, he's been in there before. You know, their kind of tone changed. But what you're seeing now is that's not happening. And I do think that if they, like, kept ignoring what's happening, what those people are saying for about a week or two, then it'll be too late to do anything about it. But the pressure is kind of so great. And the other thing about it is Kamala Harris's people have been using their media surrogates to sort of undermine what's going on. Also, there's like White House aides coming out and putting their own fucking names on things, you know? Delegates coming out, putting their names and going like, he needs to step down, you know? I love him, he's great, but he needs to step down. And it's just like,
the thing I'd say, if there was someone who, like, say like, this was when, you know, your man Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He was no good, obviously, but there was like, people liked him for some reason.
Yeah.
If there was someone like him, I'd be like, yeah, he could easily get replaced. It's just they've so successfully removed any, like, other known quantity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because any vague threat to the establishment was dealt with, and like the vaguest of threats, like Beto.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Buttigieg, he did a really bad job as transport secretary.
Yeah. Also, people don't
Harris,
like. The more you see him, you don't like him. You know?
Yeah, with all these people. And then the other thing is that Biden's family are like, no way in hell is he dropping out.
Yeah.
And it seems like Biden isn't even like talking to people directly anymore.
No.
He's talking, he's madly he's talking through Hunter. Who is such a chaotic individual. I think that they can just keep them together until it's too late.
Oh yeah, that's a thing that could happen. But if there is a possibility that the pressure is going to be too great. But I mean, they managed to weather this sort of like, you know, I was going to say they managed to weather it before, and I was using the example of Bernie Sanders' campaign, but I was like, but that wasn't their own base, you know? So, like, their own base seems to have, like, been like this is damaging. Also, but I have seen some because, like, They saw it, and it was horrifying, and it was a big moment of clarity. And now to unsee it, they're going to have to do like some insane gymnastics. So one of the ones I saw, did you see this, where they said, he actually seemed to be exhibiting some symptoms of Havana syndrome. So they think that they got a concentrated dose of the Havana syndrome beam while he was on stage.
I did. Like the only comparison is with Trump. The way just there's so many points during Trump's career they've been like, this man isn't fit to run.
Yeah, that's it.
And then when no one has outed him, they're like, actually, let's just pretend we never said that.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah.
But I feel like before the debate, the received wisdom was like, oh, he's going to win.
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that.
I think it was just like, he's the incumbent and he's not crazy.
I mean, I just thought like if he managed to get through and it was like a draw or like kind of they both, but like he so resoundingly lost the debate that it's
I think
like
that's changed it. You
yeah.
know?
I don't know what the fuck, but I mean, like they really just must believe their own bullshit at this stage. Then I mean, like
it is mad that they do. They do.
Yeah.
Like, they say a lot of the time at points of revolution, like, like the French aristocracy, they thought they were relatively popular before the French Revolution. Like, the people at the top, like at the same time, they believe they're bullshit and they don't, They're sort of like, they know they're talking bullshit, but they think people like it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what was happening. Like, you couldn't work with Biden and be thinking that he's cogent.
Yeah.
But I think there's a sense of like, oh, well, we've kept the cat in the bag and people like this doddering old freak, So, that's good. Doing a good job.
Apparently, like he's like, I mean, I don't really pay attention to polls, but apparently he's doing very, very bad in the polls, doing even worse now. People really don't think he should run. So the argument is that the numbers are so bad. Well, here's the other thing. First finish that point first. The numbers are so bad that even taking a punt on somebody who's full of shit like Kamala would be better than going with what's currently happening. And the only reason that they might do that, according to Dave Weigel on one of the latest episodes of Chapo, was that it'll start affecting the donors. Like, people will stop paying. And then once the money stops getting paid, then it's like, well, you need to fix this, And then the other thing he said was the logical choice is Kamala because her name's already on the ticket,
Yeah.
And she's been vice president for the past 4 years. So you just go, it's not going to be that much of a shock to the system having Kamala in there. And then somebody, a tweet, I can't remember who put this up, but they were like, here's a positive for Kamala Harris being president. Hillary Clinton is still alive and gets to see Kamala be the first female president. And I was like, that would be just, that's worth it alone. I want that to happen.
Yeah. I think the administration has spent a lot of effort trying to make people forget that Kamala Harris is in office.
Yeah. I know. So funny.
So, like, I think if Kamala Harris was running, I think there'd be a sense of like, oh yeah, I forgot. That awful woman,
It's mad. Like, have you ever watched Veep? Have you?
Yeah.
Do you know when you're watching Veep and then it's like the show keeps going on for a long time, so then they're kind of like, we need to figure out how to, spoiler alert, make her president of the United States. We need to figure out a way to keep her in office, but then also the tone of it needs to feel like nobody wants her there, but she's there anyway, because that's what makes for good comedy. And then you're just like, this is kind of stretching credulity at this point. And now there's literally a situation like that for Kamala Harris to become president, which is so insane. Like, people are always comparing her to like Selena Myers, just how weird and awkward she is and all of her interactions, you know, like the coconut tree stuff and, you know, the wheels on the bus go round and round. You know, that, like, she's just so weird, you know?
She's a real freak.
I love the coconut. I watch that coconut clip all the time.
What was the coconut one?
She goes, "You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all which came before you." And that's where it usually cuts off. And it's like, what a funny delivery for an incredibly funny line.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Yeah, that's like an edit. That's what we'll make.
Well, I watched like more of that clip, which I hadn't seen before. She's like, "Cause my mother always told me, do you think you just fell out of a coconut tree?" But it makes it make slightly more sense. But her delivery is completely wacky. Like her weird like laughs at strange moments, you know?
Yeah. There was a point at which they started saying to her, like, you have to learn how to laugh.
Yeah.
And she like did night classes on how to laugh.
Yeah.
And then this is the result.
Yeah.
It's like where you can see politicians have been taught to move their hands.
Yeah,
you know?
Sorry, I was just remembered because I was remembered that must have been with like Rishi Sunak as well. But I just remembered that he was asked on so he's on the One show yesterday. I sent you the picture where he's on with Britain's most tattooed mum, and she's sitting there at the bikini covered in tattoos, and he's just in the background smiling like he's waiting for like a doctor's appointment or somebody's looking at him, you know.
Yeah.
But one of the things they asked him what his favorite food was, and he said it was sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Of course. That's the other election happening at the minute.
Yeah.
The British.
The most unpleasant election ever, because some of the most smug assholes in the world are going to feel so like, I was right. I did it entirely on because my politics were so good and because my methods were so right. We are about to have a sweeping majority in the United Kingdom for the left, Labour. And you're just like, I fucking hate you so much that you're just going to, you feel like you've been so vindicated and I'm here so miserable. I hate it.
Yeah. It's such a bad feeling to lose that hard. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Do you know that Starmer is going
to be Prime Minister?
Yeah, he's going to be Prime Minister, but he's going to get less percentage of the vote than Corbyn did in 2017 and yet have the biggest Labour majority since like the 1930s or something crazy, do you know? Because of their system. And they'll be like, yeah, Corbyn lost all these elections and it was because he was an anti-Semite and we're not going to promise anything. And there was a great quote that there's a tweet that was a friend of the show, Enda, pointed me towards by Suze Kempner, who is in Doctor
Big
Who.
Suze.
Let me get this up here. And now, dum-de-dum-de-dum, gonna just type in Suze Kempner. And now to simply wait for it to load. And waiting. And now to scroll down.
Such a shame you don't have
a brand new computer.
Nicer laptop.
With 32 gigabytes of... Anyway.
Of tweeting.
Where the fuck is this?
Of Xing.
Okay. So this is it's the phrasing of... The structure of this is hard to read aloud. Okay.
What's that from?
Don't remind me. Archer. Do you want to get ants? Because that's how you get ants.
You want phrasing? Because that's how you get phrasing.
I do love the line in the first episode where he goes, "We have a stir fry every Friday. Guess what we call it? Stir Friday." Wow, that's actually much better. you know.
Yeah, what did he call it?
I don't know. Looking forward to patronising. What's the alternative, Suze? 5 more years of the Tory replies being replaced with, you can't expect miracles overnight. And it's just like, that's the feeling that you got at the moment, where it's just like, that's what it is. It's going to be where it's like just a smugness of like, well, what else are we supposed to do? And it's like, just you wait. The 4-dimensional chess that Starmer is going to be playing. And then by the end of it, it's like, well, what was he supposed to do? The Tories ruined everything.
Yeah. He had no choice but to match their energy.
He had no choice but to sell the NHS to one American multinational.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff in Northern Ireland. Well, not a lot of interesting stuff. But,
yeah. It's interesting because also nobody in England, any of the left things that I follow at all, in the UK, they could not give a fuck. They're like, here's what's happening in Wales, here's what's happening in Scotland, and we don't know what's going to happen to the SNP, you know, their motion this time, and, you know, there's a lot of kerfuffle. And then I was like, just waiting there in Navarra media patiently for them to even just go, and they are also going to be casting votes in Northern Ireland. What would that look like?
Yeah.
What could possibly fucking happen? It's like, don't give a shit, don't care, fucking...
Did they say anything at all?
No. Never. They have never said. Jeffrey Donaldson as well. Haven't said a single fucking thing about Jeffrey Donaldson.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, you know, Sinn Féin, they don't take their seats in Westminster. Yeah. So they're doing a thing with Alliance, which are supposed to be like the Liberal Unionist Party.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like as centre as you can get, sort of thing. They're pulling out. Sinn Féin are not running candidates in certain areas.
Oh, nice.
So that Alliance can take them.
Yeah.
So the areas that the DUP are supposed to do badly in, because the DUP are going to do, they say they're going to do badly.
Wow.
And Sinn Féin are hoping that Alliance will like pick off a few constituencies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting. You never hear of a party being like, oh, we're not going to run anybody, so his other party can, you know, do well. And then because of all the Donaldson stuff, you know, he's been, it's like, what is it, 17 counts of sexual assault.
It's insane.
Yeah, against 2 different women. Him and his wife.
I can't get
like, he's obviously not running. And then the guy... he's taken over. I don't know. He's not all that popular. And then some of the UUP, whatever their Minister for Health is, can't remember his name. He's relatively popular. So I think that the DUP, the votes are going to go towards like UUP. They're either going to go more liberal, or they're going to go to like this other party called the TUV.
Yeah.
But that's like a tiny party.
Yeah.
But they're like ultra unionist. But like, I don't know, they'll say the UUP are the DUP are on their way out, basically. I don't know. It's going to be good for Sinn Féin, whatever happens.
Yeah, I'd be interested to find out about that. I mean, that's the main thing is that, like, I mean, I don't know how the TUV are probably not any better, but like,
they're a lot worse.
But what I mean is that, like, it's hard to imagine somebody more obstructionist than the DUP. Do you know what I mean? Like, like all they do is seems to be whatever you're for, I'm against, and then that's it. And so nothing happens at all.
Yeah, like it'll be good because the DUP for a while have like held like a lot of the unionist voices, you know, so they're allowed for that sort of obstruction. Whereas if like it splinters into like hardline and liberal parties, it's much less effective. And then Sinn Féin just seems to be doing well up there.
Yeah,
because the other traditionally Republican Party is SDLP.
Yeah.
But no one votes for them anymore.
Okay.
And then I think the Greens are good up there. But
PPP are running as well.
Oh yeah.
I had an article actually because I thought it was interesting. It was written by the Anti-Imperialist Action.
That's your lot. If you want to hear the rest, go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers, and for €5 a month you get access to that as well as the rest of the back catalog and bonus content. We love you. Thanks. Bye.